Good morning and welcome to Mind, Body, Spirit, Living a Holistic Life with your host, Rene David Alkalay, myself, and I'm happy to be back with you this morning. We have been talking about anti-aging, a subject that is on many people's minds. Statistically, we're moving toward a time in the world history where there will be more older people than younger people. It's already kind of going in that direction. It's because of the lower fertility rates that are out there, lower reproduction in certainly technologically advanced countries. We don't have a high birth rate. And the fact that more people are living longer, so we have an increasingly older population. This has many ramifications. It has ramifications for our healthcare system. It has ramifications for world global markets and so on. So one of the things that we can work on individually is how do we keep our bodies healthier, stronger, into those elderly years or older years where we want to enjoy some of the benefits of having worked for much of our lives, and we want to get some of the pleasures that we can from life, and we want to live healthy, vibrant lives. So this all has to do with anti-aging and what we can do to keep our bodies healthier and younger. Not younger, that may be a mistake to use that terminology, but stopping ourselves from prematurely aging. Many people in our society at least feel that as you age, certain things come with that territory. To some extent, that's true. But if we look at other cultures where people do live longer lives, and perhaps live a little closer to nature, we find that they really have a vigor and a vibrancy and a youthfulness that is missing in our society among elderly people. You can be in your 80s and be a strong, functioning, vibrant human being. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about. So we want to look and see what anti-aging formulas are out there. What can we do to offset the ravages, to use a cliche phrase, the ravages of age? And we find that with the kind of foods and the kind of lifestyle that we're living, this contributes greatly to our getting older prematurely. We're not eating proper diets. The foods themselves are polluted. Our environments are polluted. We've covered many of these issues. So are there any supplements? We can't get enough from our foods because the soils are weakened. Are there supplements that can make a difference? If you open up your medicine cabinet and look at the nutrients that you're taking, have you done that in a scientific way? Have you chosen them scientifically, or has it been haphazard because somebody said, here, take this vitamin mineral, or you read it in a magazine somewhere? If you want something to work, you have to go a little bit deeper. You have to really analyze your situation, biochemically, to see who you are. And then you have to analyze a little bit or assess what it is that you're taking. Suppose that we could put really a formula into a bottle, one that really works to keep us a little bit younger or healthier. That's not an easy. It's not an easy process. It requires some real thought. And getting all the new nutrients into our bodies that we need to offset the ravages of time, so to speak, is certainly a challenge. Now, there are individuals who've spent many years studying aging, and basically there have been certain areas that have been identified that are really essential in this battle against aging. One of them, and this is the work, I want to credit the work. This is the work of Dr. Mitchell again, and certainly he researched this for over 30 years, and he found that the four elements that are essential that we have to focus on are free radicals, high inflammation, hyperviscosity, and mitochondrial DNA. We need to understand what these are, and then we can perhaps understand how to address them. Once we understand this, perhaps we might end up throwing out what we're using and really feeling in what way we can shift to something that more directly addresses what's really going on with us. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a formula and certain substances that we need to get into our bodies that absolutely contain everything we need to protect us against aging. And that's not in something you need to take tons of stuff. It's in basically something you can take as a scoop every day, or if you really want to put something together on your own, that might be a much harder route to go, but you could. It's also more expensive than finding everything in one formula. So let's look at these areas of aging that I've just spoken about. What is the situation with free radicals? The situation here is that we've discussed free radicals, certainly, in previous shows. And the free radical theory of aging is not a new idea. It's the idea that there are certain highly reactive substances called free radicals that damage the cells of the body and thereby speed up the aging process. So what is the answer to free radicals? It's antioxidants. We've seen that antioxidants can chemically prevent this damage to the body cells. That also helps prevent illness and disease and protects our bodies against the signs of aging. The estimate by Dr. Gen was that the average person gets only about 1,200 ORAC units of antioxidants per day. Researchers have estimated that we need more like 3,000 to 5,000 ORAC units to do the job properly. So you would have to eat at least 12 servings of fruits and vegetables to get that. Seriously, folks, how many of you are eating that much fruit? So we find that in a case like this, yes, some type of formula may be just what we need to slow or reverse this aging process. We need to get our full ORAC value of antioxidants that are going to fight for us. They're going to fight those free radicals. One of the most powerful antioxidants, and this of course has to do with some of the work of Linus Pauling, is vitamin C. It's a very powerful antioxidant in the blood, and there's sufficient research that indicates that it plays a major role in protecting us against damage that's caused by oxidative stress. We need vitamin C for tissue growth. We need vitamin C for repair of tissues. We need vitamin C for proper adrenal gland function. We need vitamin C for our immune system, and certainly for collagen formation. When when pollution creates a mess in our bodies, vitamin C can come along and help protect us from those effects. Now, I'm sure that many of you have heard that green tea is good for us. Well, yes, it is. We've been able to demonstrate that it has very powerful antioxidant effects. It has great antioxidant power. That's been established in a number of studies. There was a recent study, for example, with subjects who were exposed to benzene. Benzene, you know, you may know, is a chemical that promotes the formation of free radicals, and it reduces the activity of the antioxidant enzymes. When it does that, it leaves your body with less protective power. So in this one study, one group drank 6 cups of green tea every day for 6 months, and the tea was able to cut most of the toxic effects of benzene. It also increased antioxidant enzyme activity in the red blood cells. So that's another part of a good formula, green tea. The next thing to look at, besides the antioxidant free radical issue, is inflammation. Whatever can happen to us as we become older can be somehow related to some inflammation. And inflammation is really not an unhealthy response or an abnormal response. It's a normal response if we have any kind of damage. It's usually a sign that the body is working to heal itself. The trick or the difficulty is to keep it from getting extreme. If inflammation becomes extreme, it really interferes in our lives to an extent that's quite dramatic. Any itis is an inflammation. Arthritis, gastritis, cellulitis. These are all inflammatory conditions. And we want to control that level of inflammation. We don't want to turn it off completely because the body is healing itself, but not to the point where we become damaged by it or where we're unable to function. The top nutrients for maintaining a healthy inflammatory response, one that I've mentioned often is curcumin. Curcumin is the ingredient that we find in the herb turmeric. It's used widely in Indian cooking. Turmeric is a wonderful herb to use, but curcumin, of course, is the more concentrated form of what's in turmeric. And that is a very, very strong anti-inflammatory. For those of you who've gone out for an Indian dinner, anytime you've had any kind of curry, you've certainly had a good deal of curcumin through the herb turmeric. It's not only used in Ayurvedic medicine as an anti-inflammatory, but it's also used in Chinese medicine for the same purpose. So it's been known for quite a long time. It also offers a certain protection against free radicals. In some ways, it offers greater protection against certain free radicals than vitamin C or vitamin E, which is another vitamin that needs to be in a good formula. Also, besides its antioxidant activity, curcumin can help support joint health. It's been shown to keep blood flowing smoothly, thereby promoting good circulation, and it promotes a healthy inflammatory response. There are other substances that work synergistically with curcumin that can keep the body's inflammation response healthy. One of them is quercetin. Quercetin is a flavonoid or a flavanol derived from plants. And we've seen in recent studies that it's been shown to help manage pro-inflammatory signaling. Another part of a good formula would be royal jelly. Royal jelly is secreted by honeybees, and that's for the development of the queen bee. And that's been shown also. It's been found to have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. So we have a real combination of things that can give our system a real boost in fighting inflammation and in keeping it within its proper levels. We want to feed every system in our body with good circulation. The blood, as we age, becomes thickened, becomes viscous. And this causes a kind of sluggishness in the blood flow. We spoke about this over the course of the last few weeks. When the blood becomes sluggish, it means we're getting less oxygen where we need the oxygen. And our bodies start to make more fibrin, which is a protein involved in blood clotting. And that also can, as we age, that also can make circulation slow down. If we say life is in the blood, in the circulatory system, certainly we want to have a free-flowing blood. This is a kind of what we're talking about as we age, we're talking about a kind of hyperviscosity. And that's been linked to a lot of health concerns as we age. If all of our body systems need oxygen to live, what do you suppose happens when you cut back on that supply? Certainly we've seen that if there's a rise in blood viscosity with age, there is a rise in blood viscosity and therefore a decreased blood flow to the brain. So if the blood flow is so important, how do we keep our mind sharp, our hearts working correctly, and everything else working in tip-top condition? Once again, we can turn, and Dr. Gen did this, turn to something that some people are taking every day, and that's nattokinase. Nattokinase is an enzyme inside natto. Natto is a traditional Japanese food that's made from boiled and fermented soybeans. The Japanese consume natto, have been eating it for centuries, if not longer. And going past the cooking of it, the culinary use, nattokinase has also led to a great deal of interest in the scientific community because of its ability to help with the breakdown of fibrin. This helps keep blood from getting too viscous. So nattokinase actually has been reported to have about 4 times the activity of plasmin, which is a natural body enzyme that plays a role in healthy dissolution of clots. So nattokinase is more powerful. There was a clinical trial in China in which they found that nattokinase promoted healthy blood flow. It was conducted on a very small scale with only 4 subjects, and it's not clear in that study how much nattokinase they consumed, but we have this small study that's really contributing to a much broader body of research, speaking to the benefits of nattokinase. So here we have something that works on blood viscosity and therefore affects the entire body, keeps our heart healthy, and when it comes to keeping our heart pumping and our blood flowing, that might be something to include in a good formula. In addition, we mentioned already vitamin C, and we touched on vitamin E without going too far into it. So in addition to vitamin C and vitamin E, we want magnesium, which is a relaxant, and flavonoids, and certainly coenzyme Q10, which is well known for its heart-healthy action. So that's about the circulation. And the last of the four elements or four areas that we need to address for a good formula to keep ourselves youthful and healthy and vibrant, strong, is taking care of the mitochondrial DNA. That's our cellular level. Why it's so important? It's so important to take care of this as we age. The mitochondria are in every cell, in at least most of the cells in our body, and they're like little power plants. They make energy for cells. They're also involved in controlling cell death and cell growth. So mitochondria make this energy by creating adenosine triphosphate. For those of you that are a little familiar with biology, the mitochondria make energy by creating adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, and that stores and transports chemical energy inside the cells for metabolism. It's constantly recycled, so a healthy body turns over its own weight in ATP every single day. To keep the mitochondria healthy could very well be the key to winning the battle against aging. And that's because mitochondrial DNA can be damaged by oxidative stress. So we want to understand that relationship. The answer, we of course don't know the complete answer. We're still learning quite a bit about mitochondrial DNA. But there are theories that it's primarily that an answer exists in D-ribose. D-ribose is a kind of sugar that's actually a fundamental building block of ATP. We have some studies that have shown that ribose supplementation can help enhance energy levels in the heart and might support the body's antioxidant defenses. There are other ingredients in an overall good formula that support the action of D-ribose. Magnesium, we've already mentioned. It's critical to the activity of ATP. Also acetyl L-carnitine. That's an amino acid that helps transport substances across the membrane of the mitochondria. That plays a major role in the energy production inside the brain. So we've spoken about these four areas that really need to be addressed in any good formula. There's a little bit more. We need to look at every system of the body. So one of the things that we're lacking in, certainly here on the East Coast and in much of the world, is enough vitamin D. Unless we're spending a good deal of time outside and getting good sunshine, we need a vitamin D supplement, and we also need calcium in some absorbable form. So certainly both of these help with bone density. And bones get a lift from, besides the vitamin D and calcium, they also get a lift from magnesium and zinc. As far as keeping the mind fully functioning, there have been studies at the Linus Pauling Research Center, which is in Oregon State University, and they've estimated that about 15% of people over 60 are deficient in vitamin B12. That deficiency certainly can also lead to a decline in brain function. So a good formula will include B12. Also, it would include boron. People who have a deprivation of boron actually did show poor performance in attention and short-term memory. An additional brain booster is acetyl, I've already mentioned, acetyl L-carnitine, ALC. and that amino acid's been shown to have a very positive effect on cognitive and memory function. Theory is that it might help enhance energy metabolism in the brain, and that's why it benefits cognitive function. There's additional studies that have shown some real improvement in memory and verbal fluency with the addition of ALC every day over a period of 3 months. Other considerations are the immune system. Our immune response changes as we age. That's where probiotics come in. Probiotics are needed to help the beneficial bacteria in the gut. And again, theory is that they keep our immune system in top condition. Probiotics can enhance the gut barrier function. That promotes a healthy balance of beneficial bacteria. We mentioned vitamin E, and we didn't mention selenium, but both of those help keep your immune system running. All these, the last part of the equation has to be that it's not about what you put into your body. It's about how your body uses it. Its use, its absorption. So all of this doesn't mean much if our bodies can't access it, if we cannot absorb it on a cellular level. So that's why a good formula has to also include something for good digestion. We want to increase the digestibility of these nutrients. One substance that's made from cornstarch is fibersol, 2. That's a digestion-resistant maltodextrin made from cornstarch. It's made up of 90% dietary fiber. So in addition to this fiber, a formula would provide digestive enzymes that promote good digestion. Enzymes are the catalysts for digestion, and that would help with the absorption of nutrients. These enzymes have been shown to help in the management of bloating, stomachache, nausea. Another substance is arabinogalactans. Those come from large tree extract, and they're considered prebiotics. These are substances that are fermented in the colon by probiotic organisms, and they've been shown to help stimulate the growth of beneficial bacteria. There's a lot more that we can say about a good formula. And certainly you might want to look up Dr. Gen and see what his formula is, or get in touch with us. And we can work with you individually to determine where your deficiencies might lie and what you can do to supplement correctly and intelligently. When it comes to creating an intelligent program, people have said, I don't know if I can afford coming to a naturopath. Well, it's not about coming for years and years, but if you were self-medicating with drugs or pharmaceuticals, certainly that would be a foolish thing to do. Self-medicating with so-called healthy substances is equally foolish. It's a waste of money and a waste of time, unless you're really addressing the issues through very good, solid research and proper testing. You might just be throwing a lot of money away. I'd like to turn to another subject, and that is, how do we keep our face youthful and the skin? What do we do? Whenever you turn on the TV lately, there are all these reality programs. There are all these infomercials, all about how we can change ourselves, transform. We can go from being a man or a woman that is in terrible condition. All of a sudden, you have an informational that we take someone like that and they suddenly look beautiful based on some products that they're taking or some pills that they're taking. Well, you know the story. The people are taken to plastic surgeons somewhere in Hollywood. At the end of a couple of weeks, that person is transformed to some wonderful-looking person. All expenses are paid by the owners of these TV series, and there's different names for them. Some of these are called super makeovers. Some are called the extreme makeover. But whatever names they're called, the information is always the same, and that is, if you study yourself in a mirror, you'll discover that you're really not beautiful. And if you're not beautiful in the United States, there's something wrong with you. We have to fix it. We'll have to cut here. We'll have to fill you with this. We'll have to fill you with that. I've just spoken about a very solid formula that you can use, and you don't need to go to extremes in any other way other than taking some kind of a solid supplement, which covers the 4 areas we spoke about. But when we look at these TV shows and these informationals, we see that these programs are shaping women around the world to the expectations of some kind of a ideal or some kind of a concept that comes from Hollywood or that comes from, the fashion world. The question is, how are you going to claim your life back from these ideas of aging? Because if we're listening to these TV shows and these informationals, they're reprogramming our subconscious or unconscious thinking to the idea that we need to do something about our appearance so we can look like all the other models that are in the magazines. And if we can't do it with natural means, then we should definitely consider cosmetic surgery. You look at soap operas; they're constantly touting this idea of the beautiful people, whatever that means, and the risk that's associated with these procedures of becoming the beautiful people are substantial. They profile movie stars. And movie stars, they not only profile them, but they're profiling movie stars who look kind of weird and bizarre after they go through some of these surgeries. It's just a fact of life that all of us age. That's a reality. It's also equally true that all of us don't want the wrinkles that come with that or the other signs of aging. If we speak honestly, we would say that none of us likes the idea of losing our youth and beauty to the ravages of time. The message, however, that's coming out of the Hollywood and the beauty industry is really moving around the whole globe. The rates at which women all around the world are interested in facial cosmetic procedures is increasing dramatically. These procedures come with different names. There are surgical facelifts. There's dermabrasion. There's sandpapering or removal of skin. There's surface by There's other mechanical methods to remove the skin. There's laser and chemical peels. There's certainly injections of botulinum toxin. That's called Botox. Why we would want to inject ourselves with a toxin is hard to understand. There's collagen or fat injections, and there's a whole bunch of other invasive procedures. This is a trend that's disturbing because we see that almost 1 in every 5 loans that's taken out of a bank is for cosmetic surgery. If we look at other research, 1 out of every 3 women under the age of 40 are toying with the idea of having aesthetic plastic surgery. That means some kind of surgical cosmetic procedure to alter the looks. Above the age of 50, the number of women who intend to go under a knife is going up daily. I don't know what the financials are on it, but I would say several hundreds of thousands of women worldwide go through some form of cosmetic facial surgery or another. And in a lot of these cases, many of them come out looking worse than before they went for the surgery. So these are upsetting statistics. In the United Kingdom, the estimation is there's about 75 or 80,000 cosmetic procedures that take place every year. If we break this number down, it means that 1 out of 870 or 900 people of the population agreed to change their face or body every year. We could continue with some statistics on the subject. In the United States, it's even worse. It's closer to 2.5 million that have plastic surgery every year. Those are pretty large numbers. 1 out of every 10 of those people who willingly have laser or surgical procedures, 9 out of 10 of those are women. And that shouldn't really surprise us because women are more prone to maintain or improve their looks much faster than men who may not be that concerned with it. Age comes as an issue. It used to be for women who were over 40, considered themselves subjects or considered themselves for facelifts. But that's changed quite a bit. Women in their 20s are looking into laser and plastic surgery. And that's not because of their skin being an issue. It's because we have this idea of what we're supposed to look like. Certainly women in their 20s cannot be considering plastic surgery because they've developed a lot of wrinkles. So what we have right now is women trying to rejuvenate their looks or reverse certain age-related skin changes in order to live up to expectations of whom? Some peer expectations. Another issue that comes up that pulls women to surgery might be unrelated to the other people in their lives. The partner of a woman might suddenly discover that they're in a position to pay for what the women have long wanted, or women who are independent today don't need to get that from any partner. Women have the finances to do that. The women are a major part of our workforce. It's not as in times past where the woman was at home taking care of the house and the family and the husband would go to work. It's very much equal today in terms of men and women being out there, I think at a 50-50% distribution. So the finances are there to do it, and with the finances being available, more and more people are looking into what can I do. To do what, however? What can I do in order to meet peer expectations? In Western cultures, the desire is obviously to stop the aging process. I think a lot of women view the age changes in themselves as negative and want to regain their looks, the same looks they had when they were younger. The fears that may arise, that changes in looks would bring about some lifestyle issues, and so the fears can become quite large. And many women justify that fear by claiming that these changes could lead to a loss of job, or a hardship in getting a job, or a problem in one's personal relationship. Some women may feel the changes make them look less sexy. Other women feel that they'll have a facelift because they just want to regain some self-esteem. But let's look at some of the solutions. It's without necessarily getting any of the procedures that we've mentioned. Whether we like it or not, age is a reality. So it's appropriate perhaps to clear up some of the confusion about age. There's a lot of confusion about the concept of chronological age with that of biological age. A biological age is a person's age. You know, it's the age that a person looks. A chronological age is the age that a person is at from their birth age to whatever age they've reached. So chronological age doesn't necessarily harmonize or isn't necessarily on the same level as biological age. It's not at all uncommon to find people and they tell you their age and you say you look 10 years younger above their real age, or 10 years older. If we take good care of our skin, our nerves, our muscles, our blood vessels, our connective tissue, our lymph vessels, there's no reason why our face should definitely not look far younger than it would if you were careless and neglect them. That's your biological or apparent age that would be far less younger than your chronological or birth age. So your biological apparent age is going to be much younger than your chronological age if you take care of yourself properly. If you look older than your birth age, then you're aging prematurely. And there are certain factors which speed the process up. One of them is excessive sun exposure. We want sun. We spoke about vitamin D. We need vitamin D. We want some sun. But to be in the sun too much, excessive sun exposure will definitely age the skin. A poor diet, not getting the nutrients. We spoke about the four elements that we need, or the four segments of our health that we need to take care of. A lack of exercise. A lack of exercise leads to the deposit of low-density lipoproteins, cholesterol, or bad cholesterol in the arteries. This restricts blood circulation. Also, we saw that aging process itself affects blood viscosity, the viscous nature of blood. So we offered a formula earlier that you can put together, or call us and we'll find one formula for you that you can use that includes all of that. But be scientific in that. Because once the arteries become a little clogged or the blood becomes too heavy, that restricts blood circulation to the skin, the nerves, and the muscles. Smoking, that generates a kind of crunching up of the skin, a kipper feeling of the facial skin. Stress. Stress will cause a lot of lines in the face. If you're not getting enough sleep, you're not producing enough collagen and keratin. So definitely want to improve our sleep quality. And there are some simple formulas for improving sleep without taking medications. We teach a yogic technique that works for pretty much 90% or 99% of all people. Simple technique where, I've rarely seen anyone who it doesn't work for, and you don't have to buy a pill or take a drink of anything or do anything much other than applying it. Poor quality weight loss diets. If you continue to fast, there's a continual drain of fat from the face, and that might result in sagging skin. If you're doing anything for weight loss, you should always combine that with exercise. Otherwise, you end up with sagging skin all over your body, and that does not look good, and it's hard to reverse. So we want to abstain from those things that accelerate aging, first of all. And we want to use those things that retard or slow the process down. It's logical. Think a little bit like a scientist. We'll look at these factors later on. But right now, let's see what you can get from just doing some kind of exercise. And there is an exercise that you can do, which is called a facial workout, which we teach, which I actually include in my yoga classes. At least certain parts of it. I don't include it all, but enough of it for it to be effective. And if you do that, you'll give yourself a natural facelift. That plus observing the factors I've just mentioned. You won't need to go under the knife to look younger. If you do the exercises the way we teach them, wrinkles are banished. Your skin becomes resilient. Your skin becomes brighter. It gets its youthful thickness back. Fine lines become less apparent. Eye bags and circles are diminished. There's a greater glow and sparkle in the eyes. Facial contours become more rounded because we're working on facial muscles. Facial muscle tone improves. So this all comes about from just doing certain facial exercises. And if you're not coming to us or in need of our particular program, you can get online and just put in facial exercises and start doing some facial exercises. We pump iron, we do aerobics, and we don't know that there's a simple system for doing facial exercises. Where we do need to put some foundation down. And when we come back next time, we'll perhaps continue or complete this subject of how to eliminate waste and toxins through doing some lymphatic drainage and why that's so critically important. We're coming to the end of our show. I hope that it's been of help to you, and it continues to be of help to you. We're here if you need us, and we love your feedback, so continue to send us your feedback. I will continue on this topic because it seems to be of such great interest to so many people, and it's an important topic. So stay with us, come back with us next week, and we'll be happy to continue this topic and complete the talk we had today.